Hey everyone, Arc Trading here. Hope everyone had a good week. It was NFP week, so just kind of gonna go over the trades that I took. Overall, another green week. Actually, no red days for the week as well. Took a little bit more losses than usual, but kind of going to just go over them. Some were good losers, and then some were ones I probably shouldn't have even touched, but I'm gonna definitely go over those as well. So it took 11 trades for the week, 7 wins out of those 11. And honestly, not bad for NFP week, especially finishing green with no red days. So going to go over Monday. Monday was 1 for 2. So starting off Monday, usually Mondays I don't like to rush in, specifically being no news Mondays, it could get relatively choppy, especially for NFP week. So going to go over the first trade that was actually taken on stream. This was A plus in my opinion. I did go half size on this with micros. Uh, Generally because it was, like I said, no news Monday, and we were kind of just ranging in this area over here. But overall, A plus trade. This was actually a loser, but in my opinion, was a good loser. So we had this 1 minute fair value gap, bearish fair value gap, bounced into, rejected out of it, and then we had this on the 15 seconds, this break of structure right here. No equal highs, no open fair value gaps on the 15. Got filled in, kind of chopped around. I think it only went like three points, and then went straight for the stop right here. So that was already a loss in the morning. But like I said, it was half size. And then going over to the second trade over here, I believe this was on the 30 seconds. I was actually going to call it for the day. I just did not like Monday's action at all. But right before we're actually done with the stream too, right when I was gonna get off the computer, we had this 1 minute bearish fair value gap that inversed. So as soon as this closed above it, we had this break of structure right here on the 30 seconds. Even though we have this tiny, let me point that out. Even though we have this tiny fair value gap right here on the 30 seconds, we can deem it as a breakaway gap. So because it inverse, chances are it's not going to come down into this. Even though it did, it was still well within the stop. So yeah, this breaker structure, no equal lows, inverse that 1 minute fair value gap. Entry goes right over there. Got in, took some heat on it. I think it was like 7 points. Yeah, 7.25 points. And then this just actually just went straight up for those full 18 points right there. This is actually reason why I did like this trade. We did have these equal highs up here that I figured was going to be a draw on liquidity, and that's exactly what it did. So definitely enough points for 18, enough room for those 18 points. I think it just kept going after that too. Yeah, but overall, very nice trade. I was really confident in this one. I did go full size on this one, which put me green on the day. And that was it for Monday. Nothing else that really caught my attention. I didn't even go on PM session after that. So now moving on to Tuesday. Tuesday was a zero trade day for me. We did have 10 a.m. Eastern time news, and it was just a sloppy chop fest for the morning. So initially on the stream, we wait till 10 o'clock news hits. If something presents itself right after opening and between, it depends if, depending on conditions, if we're going to take it, but definitely nothing in this range right here. It's just lower lows, higher highs, just being swept, internal lows and highs. And then 10 o'clock news hits, we get this dump down here. Still continues to chop around. At that point, we just did not see anything we liked. I think that was like mornings have been a little bit off for sure, but this was like the first time where not one trade caught my eye. There was a few mechanical in there. You definitely would have probably been at a break even anyways. There's like a winner and a loser, but not worth it to get into these conditions. And then so decided to take a break for the morning, come back PM. PM, there was two A pluses. This I'm gonna go over these right now. I did not take them. First reason being for this first trade, I was actually 5 minutes too late to get back on, and then the second one was a no fill, which broke my heart a little bit, but that's okay. It's gonna happen. Okay, so kind of going to go over the first trade. So we did have this AM low got taken out. Okay, so we had that AM and lunchtime low taken out. We did have the CISD right here on the 30 seconds and the 1 minute. So change in state of delivery. There was this 1 minute bearish fair value gap that inversed, and then right here there was a very nice 30 seconds, no equal lows, no open fair value gaps because this recent one got priced in, and plus we have that inversion, so we could already deem these as breakaways. And then we had this break structure, fair value gap, we got entered right there, which would have filled you in, and this did go for full 18 points, so full TP right there. And then so I missed that one. Like I said, I was not on the computer yet, and then I got in at around like 115, 120. And then we did have this other setup. We had this 1 minute bullish fair value gap right here, tapped into that -1 standard deviation. Typically when it does that, after CISD, it's going to snag some liquidity down here, set up a second leg of distribution, and then run for those -2, -2.5s. So we had this bullish M1, okay, took some liquidity. You could have even taken, I did see this right here, you could have actually taken this one as well. I just did not like the displacement of it as much. I figured it was going to take a run on stops a little bit on that internal low. That one would have actually worked out as well. But then this one set up right over here. Right there. And I have my limit order right there at 7586, which it tapped right into, did not fill me. And this went for 12 points, so TP2 break even, not for the full 18, but overall it would have been a very nice trade. Definitely, this is right here, like picture perfect right here, catching that second leg of distribution, and that would have been just like TP2 break even on that if you're risking those 12 points. After that, nothing really for Tuesday. That was pretty much it for the day. But like I said, zero trade day for me on Tuesday, which doesn't happen often. But based on NFP week, I wasn't surprised. Now for Wednesday, I was 4 for 5 on Wednesday. We did have pre-market news at 8:30. Generally, if there's pre-market news, like 8:30 news driver, I will be on because there's been a lot of opportunities where it does set up based on after that news driver. So there was this pre-market setup at on the 15 seconds right here. We did have this 1 hour breaker block, which it tapped into right over here. So I definitely like using those too, especially on the 1 minute breaker blocks right there. So we have this breaker structure, no equal highs, tapped into that breaker block, the 1 minute breaker block. Breaker structure, fair value gap that would have been tagged in right over there. Took some heat on it, dug it a little bit into that breaker block, took like 4 or 5 points of heat. And then this actually just hit TP1 at 6 points. Break even. It almost got the TP2 11 3/4 until it stopped you at break even. But this was a little bit annoying for me because I actually took this on my PA, but I forgot to turn on my copier, so it only registered on one of my PA accounts right there. But that's okay. Rookie mistake. I know not to do that again, but that was that for that trade. And then market opened, gave it some time to chop around a little bit. There was a setup we did take on the stream. I wouldn't deem this as a bad setup, but it definitely was not A plus. It wasn't pricing off of anything really because the 1 minute we had was actually right here. We had a 1 minute bearish fair value gap right there. Did not price out of it. Definitely still went with market structure. That's the reason why we took a trade. So we have this 15-second breaker structure right here. right over there. Fair value gap tapped in. This, I believe, went for about like 5 points, so almost to your TP1 break even, and then went for the stop. Now, I was using a 10-point stop that day. I did tighten up the risk a little bit, which of course would be the day that this goes to 10 points and comes back down. But if you were using a 12-point stop, you would have actually been okay in this trade because it would have just hit TP1. You did take some heat on it. I think it's like 11.25 points, but I did get stopped out on this for 10 points. So not a bad trade. I wouldn't say this is A plus. If I see this again, chances are I might take it still because it was aligned with structure, but we did come down, took some external liquidity right here, chopped around a little bit, and then decided to push back down from there. And just to mention, we did hit this -2, -2.5 standard deviation, closed below that -2.5, and then went back up into the range. I've noticed when that does happen, it does tend to chop around until you do get a close back under that -2.5 for it to continue down to that -3.5 to that -4, just to add some context to it. Now, moving on to the third trade. This was on the 30 seconds right here. So we were still aligned with market structure. It was pretty bearish. We did hit that -4, -4.5. But we did tap into this 1 minute bearish. Failed to close above it. Usually when this happens, it's going to probably sweep sell side one more time. It did not do it this time around, but I was still able to snag a TP1 break even out of this. So 1 minute bearish fair value gap, priced out of it. Yeah, this breaker structure right here on the 30 seconds. No equal highs, no open fair value gaps. You had gotten tagged in there. It chopped around a little bit for a couple of candles, went down to your 6-point TP1 break even, and then we're just broke even right there. So nothing wrong with it. It was definitely in a steep premium, I would say, reason why it didn't go, but I figured it was going to go for these equal lows right down here as well. But we were in that -4, -4.5, which means most of the time it's going to be a point of retracement. And after that point of retracement, there was a change in state of delivery right here on the 30 seconds. So took out these lows, market structure shift up there. We did come up to this -2, -2.5, set up basically a second leg of distribution right there. And we did have a 1 minute fair value gap, bullish fair value gap that held, did not close below it. And then there was a 15-second out of it, which was right over here. You had a break of structure right here. Golden pocket, fair value gap, no equal lows, no open fair value gaps. Would have entered right there. This went for 18 points, I believe, actually. Yeah, this went for 18 points. So full profit on that one. I was still risking 10 that day, but this was a very nice trade. A plus, bounced into that bullish fair value gap, second leg of distribution, went for those 18 points. Moving on to the fourth trade right here. This was another green one. We did have an inversion of this 1 minute bearish fair value gap. So we took some external, set up an inversion. Typically when this recovers like this after taking that external sell side, there is going to be that retracement, especially when it is in a buy program. So we did have this on the 15 seconds. Most recent got priced into, but even if these fair value gaps did not get priced into, we did have an inversion. So like I said, that could be deemed as a breakaway gap, meaning chances are it's not going to come back to it. But this one did price into that most recent one. So that breaker structure right there, fair value gap, golden pocket. This actually just hit TP1 and then break even and then decided to rip out from there, but that's fine. As long as you caught something, in the end, that's what matters, especially on NFP week. So that was my fifth trade for Wednesday. Of course, I was done at that point. Taking 5 trades is a lot, but 4 out of 5, can't complain about that. Very nice green day for that day. Would have been nicer if that first trade I had all my PAs, but that's okay. We're human. We're going to make those mistakes. And then moving on to Thursday, we did have 2 red folder news. One was at pre-market, one was at the AM. For Thursday, I just did not like anything. I didn't take any trades on Thursday. There was a couple I marked out. Not A pluses, honestly, in my opinion. Uh, it just marked them out mechanically, but just the whole day we just had these levels of just deep retracement and then deep retracement down up. Usually when it starts moving like this, where it's just taking all these highs, all these lows at the same time, I try to stay away from it. But I would say Thursday was like the first day that I did not see one A plus setup that I just missed or really would have wanted to take. There was a few mechanical, but um, nothing really to write home about. And in the end, you have to be defensive, especially on NFP week, Thursday with two red folders. If you can't read price action, that's kind of like the rule that I personally go by. If I do not have a good read on price action, I will definitely lay off the gas because we're here to defend our capital. We're not here just to take trade after trade after trade. If I do not see anything, I will not take it. There's days like you saw for Wednesday where I'll take 5 trades because I was comfortable with all 5 of them. But Thursday, just nothing that really screamed out to me, and that's okay. It's like defense is always going to be the best offense. Now moving on to Friday, I was actually 2 for 4 on Friday. Just kind of go over this. This was the first trade that we took. This was on stream. In my opinion, this is actually not a good one. I'm gonna go over my thought process here. So we did have this 1 minute bullish fair value gap form priced into it, started ranging a little bit up. We did have these equal lows down here. For me, and my thought process is I did see this heavier displacement down, break a structure. So I decided to get short because I'm like, chances are it's going to go for these internal lows, which would have definitely been enough points. And it did, when I got tagged in, only went like not even a point within my favor and immediately stopped out. Even if you're using 12 points on this, it would have been a stop. So honestly, this is just one of the trades where I jumped the gun a little bit too quick, got a little antsy, and got tagged out. I did go half risk on this as well, just because we had this 1 minute bullish fair value gap right here. So not the best of trade. I would say that's probably the worst one I've taken. But it's journaled. I know what to look for next time. So moving on to the second trade right here. Like I said, we had this bullish 1 minute fair value gap. This did inverse and then push back out of it and then re-inverse it as well. So that does typically deem it as a sloppy delivery, but it kind of gives you an idea of where price does want to go. So as soon as this re-inversed it above at 1016, there was this break of structure right here on the 15 seconds fair value gap. No equal lows, no open fair value gaps down there either. Got tagged in and this just went for 12 points. TP2 break even within like 45 seconds or something. So that was a nice little trade. And then right here was actually my second loss. This right here, and I mentioned this on the stream as well, I was like $70 away from passing my next eval. These I took on PAs on the previous ones, but I'm like, and this is not the correct way to go about it, but I just needed like 3 points based on the risk I'm using to pass my next eval. So I did end up taking this 30-second right here. It wasn't a terrible setup because it did bounce back into that re-inverse and then come back out of it. But it was a little bit prone to that retracement, which is exactly what it did. So there's this 30-second break of structure right here. Fair value gap got tagged in and just went straight for the loss. So this was also not a good setup, but I did explain that I'm only taking this on one eval. Honestly, I wasn't even going to hold for 6 points on this. I was going to let it go to 3 points and just cut it loose just so I could pass that eval, but that's okay. Still in the green for the day. Because like I said, I didn't take that on my PAs or anything. And then right after on my fourth trade, I think this was on the 15 seconds right here. Yeah, we had a inverse on the 1 minute. Right here. Oh, that's a little too wide. Right there. Okay. So we did have this 1 minute fair value gap. We did inverse this over here. And then this was on the 30-second. We had this break of structure. So break of structure, fair value gap right there, no equal lows, no open fair value gaps. Inversed out, it was actually a singular too, which is, actually, no, there was two of them, but did inverse this one. Break of structure, got tagged in. This took some points of heat. It went 9.5 points, and my stop was at 10, and then had that just displacement up as soon as that candle closed. Decided just to take that liquidity, and this went straight for those 18 points up there. So TP3 break even, TP full TP on that one. And based off that, that was it for the week. So took, like I said, took a couple more losses than what I'm used to, but just to show you, it was a green, no red day for the week. Every day I did trade was green, and like I said, Tuesday, no trades. Thursday, no trades. But overall, for being NFP week, you know, having no red days, still being able to take some from the market is definitely a plus in my book. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Any questions, feel free to comment. As I mentioned before, we do have our Discord where AP and I do trade live in the morning. So I have that link in the bio if you guys, it's free to join. There's VIP if you want to catch a stream live, but it's a really cool Discord. We have a lot of cool people on there, so feel free to join that, and I will see you guys next week. Thanks for watching. Bye.